It's my 2023 hobby year in review. I'm going to build this TT Combat ground antenna kit in the background while I blather on at you. We're going to talk about my hobby progress this year, things I acquired, Kickstarters I backed, what, in my opinion, made the top tabletop news this year, things I'm looking forward to next year, goals for myself next year in the hobby, things probably I'm going to bring to this YouTube channel, and then some YouTube channel shoutouts. So my hobby progress this past year has been kind of middle of the road. I primed a lot of things, painted very few, and finished very few. My hobby room is both more organized and less organized than it was at the beginning of the year, if that makes any sense. I identified some good things I just finally have made peace with and I have to let go. Mostly board games, a few RPGs, and even a few miniature games. Gasp. And I played some absolute huge games of Wings of War and Heroescape with my sons and their friends. That was excellent, but didn't end up gaming a lot. And I failed my will save and acquired both value boxes of Horus Heresy. Yes, that happened. Ugh. So that's a good segue into my acquisitions for 2023. Better than that, though. Well, Horus Heresy is pretty cool, but I acquired a lot of Uncharted Seas fleets. I kind of finished them off. I think I acquired them 2 years ago, but really finished off what I want for them. I made some small expansions into my Firestorm Armada fleets for the Relthosa. I got some Civil War naval miniatures in 1/600, both by Peter Pig and also some prints off Etsy and Facebook. I got influenced by the Little Wars YouTube channel on that one. Rubicon miniatures, 20mm Vietnam War miniatures. I got a whole bunch of those guys. Both U.S. infantry for the Big Red One and VC. What else? I got the Peter Pig Men of Company B Vietnam miniature war rules. I got Empress miniatures to do Vietnamese civilians there. So basically, I'm all set to prime paint, build Vietnam war game. I'll talk a little bit more about that near the end of the channel, or the end of this video, rather. I added the Kings of War Goblins ambush set and a few other Gobbo models to my little green Kings of War buddies. And I also made similar little expansions for Night Stalkers and 2 units of Ogres. I also subscribed to the Mantic Vault this year, so I have all sorts of 3D file goodness. Yes, that Horus Heresy stuff that I mentioned earlier. Cruel Seas starter set. It was super cheap on Mini Market. I couldn't stay away from it, but I regret it. I'm probably not going to play it. That's probably one I've got to get rid of. So I acquired it this year, and I'm probably going to get rid of it this year. Cav. I added 3 little rides to my Cav forces by Talon Games. Malifaux, I got Tara and Pandora crews. All Quiet on the Martian Front, I acquired another scout tripod, an assault tripod, 2 more British vehicles, and a bunch of 3D printed stuff off of eBay for Rolls-Royce armored cars, some field guns, things like that, just to kind of extend out and make my British forces better. I got a ton of TT Combat and Outland models, 10mm terrain buildings, of which I'm building one of these TT Combat buildings right here in the background. I acquired some MDF 12 by 12 inch squares that we can talk about later. Some gray felt for a 6x4 whole city's worth of table gaming goodness there. I also got some blue upholstery cloth for an ocean. And on the RPG front, I got some adventure books for old school essentials. And that's pretty much what I got. Whew. In Kickstarter land of 2023, I of course backed the Battletech Mercenaries Kickstarter, Return of the Tripods, All Quiet on the Martian Front, Starschlock, Nuts! Exclamation point. Some World War II rules. I also got the weird World War II rules there, which was cool. Folk Horrors 2. I gotta show some pictures of that. Those are incredible little miniatures. On the RPG front, I always tend to back some things during ZineQuest. I got the Ziggurat of Blood, Old School Cool, and Gary's Appendix. I can't remember which one, two, three. The biggest shocker here in the Kickstarters land, I even talked about it in an earlier video. I actually didn't end up backing Catalyst's Leviathans to the Great War. I think I'm just so happy with the brigade models that I've got, and I'm getting a little desperate for space. I couldn't bring myself to do it. So I'm keeping my powder dry for other stuff. The top three most notable news stories of 2023 to me, in at least what I absorbed in the hobby kind of miniature game space, was one, BattleTech Essentials going to Target. Like, the exposure BattleTech's getting from that, the volume of sales that must mean that Catalyst has there, that's really something else. There's only really in my mind one other true quote unquote minis game that's sitting on Target shelves here in the States, and that's G-Dub's Space Marine. So that's pretty small company, and really incredible. It's cool. Number two for me was the Mantic Vault. I don't even have a 3D printer. I love the fact that Mantic does that. I'm a huge Mantic fanboy as well. I think, obviously the industry direction, and I'm sure someday I'll print me off some miniaturized Kings of War Armada ships to go with my Uncharted Seas fleets. And number three, all the Hasbro WotC drama. I'm not gonna D&D as well in there, yeah. Magic. I'm not gonna recap any of that, but just to suffice to say, it sure does seem like Hasbro is mismanaging its golden goose here. I also think Dungeons and Dragons itself is probably coming off the apex of 5th edition and Critical Role. This is going to be a bygone era. The sun is kind of setting again on a really as things tend to do, they go in cycles. We'll probably see things fade and cool off a little bit for D&D land. Probably things will pick up in Pathfinder or Indie land in the RPG space, and then D&D will be back again with some other version, I'm sure. Or maybe they've bet right and their virtual tabletop thing is really going to take off. I don't think so. No. Alrighty, so things I'm most looking forward to in 2024. Unboxing Mercs. Battletech Mercs. I love making that video. I don't know why. I love doing it in the Clan Invasion time frame. I really like unboxing the salvage boxes. I also love seeing other people do the same thing. I don't know what that is. A lot of it's the same stuff, but it's just fun to see what people get as far as swag, what factions they like, what type of rides they got in their little salvage boxes. It's cool. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to getting Starschlock. I think that's going to be a pretty amazing set of miniatures and a game system that I might actually be able to get to the table someday. And if it comes to fruition, like I think it probably will, All Quiet on the Martian Front, the Return of the Tripod should come. So those are kind of that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to 3 Kickstarters coming to me. I'm also really looking forward to backing Mantic's Warpath Kickstarter, which I believe is coming in February. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. But yeah, that's probably the number one thing I'm most excited by that's coming up in hobby game land space. Yeah, Warpath. Hobby goals for 2024. The great culling must commence. I've got to get out from under a lot of games that I'm not playing, don't intend to use. And I need to do it maybe even more aggressively than where I'm tracking to right now. That's probably where I'm going to focus a lot of my energy at the first quarter of this year is to just make space, clean some things. Yeah. It'll be good. It'll be good for the mind. It'll help me also be able to play and hobby better because I'll have the space to do it. Number 2, projects I've got. Those Uncharted Seas fleets I mentioned, yeah, I'm going to fully paint those. I've talked with them to my family about those fleets. They've each picked one out. I'm going to paint them up for us and get us shooting volleys at one another. That probably also means I'll make a few little islands, which will be easy. I've got a blue felted game table right now that's 6x4. I also got that upholstery cloth that looks like, I'll show it to you guys. It's incredible. It looks like waves. It's really cool. So yeah, that's a big one. The other big one is I'm going to be making 10mm city terrain for the 6x4 table. So the goal is to have something that I can play kind of city tech, battle tech on. Cav will go on that. Dropzone Commander can go on that. And also, importantly, Warpath can be played on that as well, too. And in a pinch, I think All Quiet on the Martian Front with some of the smaller buildings. And if I make it a little bit maybe more rural feeling, it should work out okay, too. Though All Quiet really tips towards 15. And so it'll look maybe a little bit small. We'll see. Kind of some stretch goals. Continue my All Quiet on the Martian Front assembly and painting. Dropzone Commander. I really want to get some of those assembled and at least primed. I've got to ingest my Mercs forces from my Kickstarter, prime those, and maybe start my first Genosha actually painting. Maybe someday. And I also think maybe I'll do some 30-minute missions, stop motion videos just for the laughs, just because I want to do it and try it out. I'll probably post them up as shorts. And number 3, my goal is to acquire no new games. Only expansions are allowed. Heavy asterisk here. I might find some other exception too. But my biggest asterisk there is I give myself leeway to purchase anything Mantic puts out. Hey, it's just how I am. I love that company. Goals for my little YouTube channel. I'm just gonna keep going. I get quite a thrill out of seeing some people comment at me, give me thumbs up, learning more about what people are interested in. I sometimes manage to answer some questions for people, which is crazy, and sometimes I even manage to give them the right answers too. So just I kind of YouTube has become part of my wargaming hobby as well too. It's a very small part, but it's fun. Another thing I'd really love to do on this channel is to make some low production value battle reports. I got really close to making one for our Heroescape games. The Heroescape table was loaded out with beautiful terrain, all 6x4 of it. It was marvelous, but I just couldn't quite bring myself up to the editing challenge that it was going to be, as bat rep makers know. So yeah, I didn't end up doing it, but I have all the footage. I could do it. I could. Finally, I'm going to expand this channel a little bit more from being so heavily Battletech centric. I don't find there's enough content that I want to make. How to say this differently? I want to make more YouTube content or be freed up to make different types of content that I'm interested in. So right off the bat, I'm going to expand towards making some Mantic Warpath content. As things get known about that game, the Kickstarter happens, I'm going to cover that. I'm also going to hopefully heavily cover my progress towards making this 6x4 city that can be Dropzone Warpathed, Battletech Calved, and All Quiet on the Martian Fronted. So those are kind of my main plans for the channel in the next year. And finally, my favorite new YouTube channels this year, the Solo War Gamer. That guy is so genuine. I really enjoy his content. He can talk for 30 minutes, focused in on a paintbrush over a dollar store bought mini that he's kit bashing together, and I'll end up listening to him. If you heard in my acquisitions, I bought all these Vietnam miniatures for historical wargaming, that conflict, and it's probably something I never would have done if my father was still alive, and it was something I was considering, but didn't really feel like doing it until Rubicon kept making those beautiful miniatures, and I found his channel, and through him the Great Rule Set by Peter Pig. He also is just really expansive in his wargame knowledge. He made a really fun video over the Christmas Jeopardy for miniature wargamers, which y'all should check out. So his link is obviously in the description here. The second YouTube channel I'm highly interested in. This channel recently posted an assembly of a Gunpla model, and then has been posting a little bit about potentially some Dropzone Commander coverage. It's Tom's Tabletop Bunker. I haven't watched as much of his content. He's got a ton of it out there as well too. He's very expansive as well. I'm super excited to see what may be coming from the Dropzone side, as is what my focus is going to be kind of next year, after we get past some of those Uncharted Seas fleets, which I think the Uncharted Seas fleets are just going to be in range and easy to do, and then the Dropzone Commander Warpath 10mm sci-fi table is the big meat and crunch as we wait for cool sci-fi miniatures to arrive or pledge for them. And finally, I probably should acknowledge, though they're not new to me this year, Dusk Haunters. His Battletech channel inspires me to keep making content and keep doing things. I look to him for inspiration and things, and I think he makes some really good stuff there. So you all should check him out if you're Battletech fans. This is a good guy, and he did a few little collabs with Death from Above this past year as well too. So yeah, I think that's all I got for y'all. I'm wishing you a great 2024, and I hope you have fun gaming. All right, catch you later.